And hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beat Down Bandits podcast. I know it has been forever, and I deeply, deeply apologize. I'm really sorry. It's my bad. I just have not been. I don't want to say I haven't been motivated to get on and record something. Like I just combination of like I haven't had the time to really get on and do stuff, and yeah, I mean, I guess motivation is also a factor in there, but yeah, I just haven't recorded. I guess I have really no like legit other excuse than that. But season 10 is upon us, right? And so today I want to discuss Apex Legends season 10. And most importantly, though, I'm actually going to be on vacation July 31st through August 7th, and I'm going to miss that first week of season 10 when that drops, and that's kind of a bummer. So rip me. Anyway, so there are a few things I want to discuss of like these are the things that I want to see change, right? And there's tons of leaks and there's all sorts of stuff out there, and there's no patch notes I don't think that have been leaked out there, so not everybody knows all the changes, but there's tons of stuff out there, and I'm trying to avoid most of it other than what I see in actually like Apex Legends trailers. So the Seer trailer was just released, which he looks super cool, right? So very excited. That was not somebody I had expected. Like I was kind of waiting on this whole Pariah thing or Ash. Those were the ones that I kind of thought, just from what I had seen, were the ones that are going to be coming. So I'm excited for that. But there are a couple other things I want to kind of at least discuss and go through. And feel free to agree, disagree, whatever. Just comment and let me know. And again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, very much appreciated. Thank you very much. I always recommend to everybody to go over to YouTube and check me out over there. You can search for Beat Down Bandits podcast. You'll find me on my YouTube channel. It's Go Buckeye Gaming. If I'm on there, plus you can see the video version, which is, I don't know if that's as cool. Sometimes I share my screen and show some other things, so that's important. But today is really just my face. So maybe you want to go over to Spotify. So those of you watching my YouTube, go over and check out like Google and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that. Like Google Play, yeah, and all those, so you don't have to see my face, right? So anyway, I want to start with guns, because it's been a big topic, and obviously we have a new LMG coming, which I'm really looking forward to. Although I know there's not like a ton of LMGs in there, but I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe because it's a smaller category, the LMGs, maybe that's why that was coming. But the ability to add like that Dragon's Breath thermite to it seems pretty cool. So not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for it. I just don't know if it was needed for season 10. But anyway, I digress. So speaking of LMGs, let's talk about the Spitfire. So I recently had this discussion or debate on Twitch with somebody. They were talking about like the EVA 8, like, oh my God, I can't deal with this EVA 8 anymore. It's got to go. It's got to go. Well, I was kind of talking about like the Spitfire and the difference between the EVA 8 and the Spitfire. And to me, like, I feel like both are in a fine position. Like the Spitfire was where it was, whatever, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, when it was perfectly fine and nobody was talking about it. That's where it is now. But I think everybody's just more aware of the Spitfire. So when they see somebody using it, it's like, oh my God, another Spitfire guy, I'm about to die. You know, it takes, I don't know the math, but it feels like I have to get hit like 10, 11, 12 times for me to get knocked with a Spitfire. Or if I'm using a Spitfire, like I feel like I am just railing somebody basically before they get knocked. So I don't think the Spitfire is OP. It's just, you don't have to reload as much, right? So that's kind of what the LMGs are about. Anyway, so I don't get the Spitfire stuff anymore. Like I get it last season. Last season Spitfire was pretty nuts. I get it. It's not as effective as it was now, or what it is this previous season. So I would stop worrying about that. And I know right now the EVA 8, a lot of people are like saying, oh my God, the EVA 8, the EVA 8. Look, to me, the EVA 8 is still meh. it does 7 damage from any distance other than right up in your face, right? It's brutal up close, but guess what? Shotguns are designed to be brutal up close. That's what they do. They do nothing from any distance farther than 15 feet away. So don't worry about it if you know somebody's going to run it, or maybe stay away from people's faces if they've got a shotgun. So, look, a Peacekeeper can kill me in 2 shots. An EVA 8, I don't know if I've ever been killed by an EVA 8 in 2 shots, but possibly. But I expect if I get up in somebody's face and they have a shotgun, they're gonna win if I'm sitting here trying to get them with an AR or something. So they deserve that win. So I don't know. I mean, if you look at like the Mastiff from the previous season, that thing was brutal, right, on the ground. The last couple seasons, now it's garbage right now because the PK is back and the EVA 8 is really good. So they're both really good. The Mastiff is just not intimidating right now, or it's just less intimidating than those others. But again, you know, those are shotguns. Those are designed to be brutal up close. So anybody who's running a shotgun has to get into somebody's face. So I would worry less about that. Because I don't think anything's going to happen to the EVA 8. So a lot of people still aren't big fans of it. But yeah, I mean, to me, if I shoot somebody with an EVA 8, I'm not knocking them right off of the bat anyway. And all the other guns, I feel like right now are in pretty decent shape. They've all been tweaked a lot, and they're all going to continue to do that. I just hate nerfs on things, basically, is really what I'm getting at. However, that being said, I would not mind. I think the only thing that right now is like in just a garbage spot is kind of the P20. No, it can be a really good gun, especially if you get a good mag on it and you know, you're just lighting into people. It's a decent gun, especially off drop or as a secondary, because it's a quick switch and you can start lasering into somebody. So I don't mind it as a secondary, but I kind of feel like it almost needs those hammers back again, or something, some other ability with it, or some other like slight buff, not ability, slight buff to it. I'm okay with that. But I mean, even the P20. You know, I can still kill people with it, and I know that. But is it better than any other gun? No. I don't think so. The beak, since it got the 6 shots now, I don't feel like I feel like that's probably stronger than the P20. I would rather have the Mozambique as a secondary than the P20. Now I know also that there's supposed to be guns that are designed to not be as awesome. Not every gun you pick up should be a R301. So that's part of that RNG factor of a battle royale, right? So again, I'm okay with crappier weapons, but I don't think the P20, and even like when the hammers were there, I don't feel like that many people were picking up the P20. I loved it. I used it quite a bit. I don't really run the P20 anymore. So that might be something that can just be tweaked a bit or bring those hammers back for that guy. I don't know how the beak is going to be now with 6 shots and hammers, but I don't know. I guess I don't really want to get shot with it. So let's talk about legends. Okay, first and foremost, the biggest topic right now, I think, for season 10 is Wattson. And honestly, it may not have been if not for the recent patch notes with like the last event where it was Wattson gets this major buff of placing 20 Nessies on the map. I think that was just like I don't know, kick in the face to anybody who plays Wattson or enjoys Wattson. Like, I love Wattson. I probably mained her from like season 3 through 6-ish. She was kind of my go-to person, and I've kind of stayed away from her ever since. Pretty much ever since like Olympus came out in season 7, I've kind of avoided her because those maps are just tougher, right? So, or at least tougher with a Wattson. So that's that kick in the face with the whole major buff is probably why it's even a bigger talking point. Now I get it. Respawn's thing is she has such a high win rate. She's like the second highest win rate or whatever. I mean, this has been said by everybody. There are 15 people total that play Wattson, right? Everybody else has a much higher pick rate. She has a high win rate because the 15 people or so that actually play Wattson are very, very good. They are the best Wattsons who have stuck it out since day one, right? So like if you look at like Burnout, right? Dude's gonna win a lot of games as Wattson because he's the number one Wattson, I think, on at least like PC still. But you look at guys like that, they're gonna win a lot of games with Wattson. So yeah, she has a high win rate because of the gods that play her, right? I think it's more important to look at pick rate, like how fun is somebody to be, or somebody to play as, right? So that makes sense to me. But she has like the second lowest pick rate. I think it's Fuse then Wattson, if I'm not mistaken, currently. So now I know devs like want to kind of avoid buffing her because of that win rate. So it's just infuriating to me and probably a lot of other Wattsons. I know a handful of other Wattson players that I like at least watch on Twitch or whatever that say the same thing. A lot of them even have like in their description of their stream or the title of the stream #buff Wattson. So that's something to look at. Now on the flip side, so I have some notes here that I wanted to make sure I did not forget. On the flip side, which is very counterintuitive of what they're saying, is they are talking about and looking at a buff for Gibraltar because he isn't great in pubs. Well, guess who is not great in pubs is Wattson, right? Wattson is not great in pubs. She's pretty good in medium to higher ranked games, right? Nobody uses her in pros anymore because she's useless. The only place where she's really played is like gold and above because people are starting to play a little more strategic at those levels and they want to play a little bit smarter. They know how to play with a Wattson. I mean, if I'm playing with Wattson and I jump into a game in bronze or a silver lobby, nobody cares. Nobody's going to play around a Wattson. They're just going to go and do their own thing. But in the gold levels and plat and diamond stuff, it's like there's a lot more points on the line, so they start playing a little more strategic and using their brains a little bit more. So anyway, again, she's just not great in pubs, and neither is Gibraltar because nobody plays with Gibraltar or plays around Gibraltar. So that's the point of kind of those legends. And you kind of look at like Crypto as well. So Crypto, Wattson, Gibraltar, they're very high skill gap legends. Like you can just go in and play them and you're not going to be super good. Gibby by himself, or if you don't know what you're doing, is pretty useless. Crypto, same thing. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing if you're going to play Wattson in pubs, Gibby, Crypto, right? There's high skill gap people. So they can be played like very, very wrong. And when somebody knows what they're doing, plays with them, they're very devastating, right? So just people don't play them in pubs, right? And plus those legends are slower. They don't have any type of speed to them or mobility to them. So people play pubs matches because they want to get kills, they want to go fast, and they want to get on to the next game if they die. I mean, that's why people leave games instantly in pubs matches. Right? If they get knocked, it's like, man, I'm just leaving. I don't care if I get revived, respawn, whatever. I don't even care. I always want to jump into the next game and get into that game and die there too. So it's not a big deal. It's just people don't want all that downtime, right? They don't want to wait 2 minutes to see if somebody gets their banner and another minute to see if somebody goes and respawns them. They just, people don't care about that in pubs. So those people need to have something for pubs. So why a buff to Gibraltar so he's more fun in pubs? Why the same for Wattson? Gibraltar also has a pretty high win rate. So I don't know what Respawn is doing. It's very, very confusing to me. Anyway, so Fuse is the next person. Obviously, Fuse needs a lot done to him. I mean, at this point, I don't even know. The knuckle clusters could probably be a little better, I guess. Those aren't very intimidating. I don't know. I think I got killed by one knuckle cluster in Arena's game. Other than that, I don't think I've ever been really killed by a knuckle cluster. And the ultimate is intimidating, like especially if it's indoors, but really anywhere outside. Like I feel like I can jump over it with very little damage. It's just not intimidating. Especially when Fuse's team doesn't want to push it either. It's like, oh my god, there's fire everywhere. Most people don't go running through it regardless. So Fuse's ultimate needs to be more intimidating or something. I don't know. Make it almost like where Caustic's was intimidating a couple seasons ago, where you just do not want to go through it. If it was like brutal fire, then it would be different. But he's just a bad legend with abilities that seem cool or could be great, and they just are not super effective. All right, so Rampart, look, easiest fix for Rampart. And I want to jump back to Wattson too, but Rampart, look, super easy peasy fix on her, right? Is the ability to take Sheila off of the mount and walk around with it. She would have to be really slow, a really slow turn, right? So she's not like super mobile running around with a giant LMG, but if she could take it off of the mount and move, that would be, because that's the thing is like if you just slightly flank her or the ability, honestly, even if she could 360 Sheila, that would be an okay buff. But I think just taking the thing off, she would be a pretty legit legend. Because the fact that she could go anywhere, hit a bounce pad with a Sheila, that's pretty insane. And I think those things are coming. There's some type of major buff coming for Rampart. So and maybe it's just that the new LMG with the fire ability. That could also be, because I think what they say, a new spicy change is coming for Rampart. It's probably just that. So jumping back to Wattson, I think one real cool fix for her is one, you make the defenses be a little bit more effective, right? So they do a little bit more damage. And then two, I think the ability to turn them off and on, that's the one thing I've wanted for probably 5 seasons, is if I could turn it off and on, like the ability to hit one button and I can control Mirage's decoy, be the same ability that I could use to enter a drone if I'm crypto or whatever. Same button to turn off and on Wattson fences. It would be super fun, super intimidating, especially if the fences were a little bit more effective. I think that's a really great ability. You could also play with the ultimate and her not put the ultimate down on the ground, but it stays on her back. So she has that mobile ability. And the only way, and that way I also cannot be shot by an enemy team. So as long as she is near her teammates, she can heal their shields and she can stop nades and bombardments or whatever from coming in. I think that's another great ability. It's already on her back. Again, she just turn it on and it has a cooldown period just like the other one would. So that's a real easy fix, I think, for that. So Pathfinder. So I was literally just talking about Pathfinder today. So kind of poor Pathfinder. Like I know like he had his heyday of when he was super strong and really good. So I get it. But why is his only passive ability the ability to scan beacons? There are 3 other legends that can do the same thing. Plus they have additional passive abilities beyond that. Right? So when you look at Valk, right, she can flip and fly. That's her passive ability as well. You look at Bloodhound, he can track people. That's part of his passive ability as well, as the little tags on the ground. Somebody was here 12 seconds ago. That's his. And then Crypto has about 600 passive abilities, but the biggest being that he does not have to be in his drone for it to continuously scan. Right? So they all have those other abilities. And so I don't know what you do with Pathfinder with his like if you add an additional passive ability to him. I think the only thing I could really think of which would make sense is maybe he's not affected by caustic gas, or maybe he can see through Bangalore smoke. You could also play with like some type of other ability of him having an additional grapple, like some type of like a lasso or something like that. That was something we were discussing. I was discussing with a friend a couple weeks ago, is like just lassoing people with Pathfinder. And we have a video on that. It's super silly and goofy. But a better ability to do that might be cool, because normally if you grapple somebody, you're kind of pulling yourself to them. But if you have the ability to really to pull them in regularly, without having to something in your like body to stop yourself from pulling them, that would be pretty effective as well. I don't know how you work that in, but I think that would be pretty cool. So moving on. So things I want to see in season 10. So I've got like 6 things here. I'll make them pretty quick. And then we can kind of jump on. So number 1 is Seer, right? Like that to me is like the biggest thing coming in season 10. It usually is the biggest thing is a new legend, because it changes things so much, or a meta or whatever. But one, he just really needs to drop as a straight up like badass, right? When you look at Valk and Horizon, they dropped as like total badasses, like game changing in the meta. They were both in the ALGS, right? Super effective. Awesome legends, great. They did need a little tweaking to kind of come down to a more manageable level, but they came out as good legends that people wanted to play. And then you come out with people like, you look at the opposite and look at like Rampart and Fuse. So they're just kind of using the last several seasons. You look at Rampart and Fuse, let's just call a spade. They kind of sucked, right? Pretty underwhelming. So I think when legends drop, they need to be somebody that you want to play, somebody that's entertaining and effective and good. If they're below average, then why would I want to play that person off of the bat? I want them in the middle or above. And I know their goal is somebody in the middle. I want somebody on the higher end, and then they can tweak it down if they have to. Number 2, I haven't really talked about this much, and I have a friend that mentions this quite a bit. And the more that I think about it, the more that I feel like this is pretty important, is a replay theater. That type of ability. You know, a lot of AAA games have this now. It's something I've utilized in like even like GTA quite a bit, is they have like a content creation section. And as somebody who wants to make cool content, like this is a really good feature. It's pretty easy way to do this really as well. So and even if somebody isn't like a content creator, it's really based around people who want to do those things. But even if somebody is not, they can still sit back and kind of enjoy the ability to go back and watch their gameplays and different perspectives and stuff like that, and kind of almost like a self-coaching thing, right? So but to me, I want to see different perspectives and different views, and it would be the content that could come out of it is unlimited. It would be amazing. Number 3, this isn't like super amazing, but like a higher max level. A lot of people have been obviously stuck on 500 for a very long time. So like I guess going up to like a level 999, or even like hitting 1000, whatever. Better rewards for those things as well. The kind of downside of hitting level 500, while it was cool, is like now I just don't get as much cool stuff. Right. So just getting some packs every 2 levels, 3 levels, or whatever, it would be very beneficial. 9 times out of 10, the packs are just 2 common items and a rare item anyway. So whatever. So I think that would be great. Now I don't have tons of time. Also, like related is I don't have tons of time to like grind ranked and get up to like diamond or higher. I just don't have that time. I only play like twice a week. But if I do ever have that time, or like one time, like I'm only gonna play ranked in one season, and I'm gonna do that, then I want like some type of actual like legit reward for hitting diamonds, or I'm never gonna hit masters, but calling a spade a spade. But if I were to get to that level, like I want something more than like a temporary dive trail, or a charm. Like, dude, like I have hundreds of charms, and there's like 20 guns. Like, what am I going to do with all these charms? There's so flipping many of them. So, and I unlock a new charm every other day, and it's like, great, I totally forget all the charms I have. So the charms are not, I know they're like super easy to make, and they're a cheaper thing to make for Respawn, and they're easy to give out because it doesn't really cost them as much. So that's why we all have hundreds of charms and less of everything else. But yeah, I'm kind of sick of those charms, not gonna lie. So something better than that. I don't know what it is. The badges fine, great. I don't really pay that much attention to badges unless I see Predator, Master, 4K, and 20 Bomb. Those are the only badges I really recognize anyway. So are the ones that I care about if I see like Champion Squad or whatever. And it's like, great, we're running with triple stack Masters and I'm about to die. So those are the only things that I care about. You know, diamond badges, I don't think that many people are actually like intimidated by. So yeah. Number 4, cross progression. Now, this would be a pretty sweet thing, and I know financially it doesn't make that much sense to do it for Respawn, but I know it is something they're talking about. It seems like it's going to be maybe a season 11 thing or a 10.5 thing. But at some point, I would like to switch to PC. Right now, I just play on Xbox, so yes, I'm an Xbox plebe. So feel free to make fun of me for that, but at some point, I would like to make that switch to PC. I just need to upgrade my PC or just straight up get a new one at some point. But I've got a lot of time invested on console stuff that moving to a new one is just kind of frustrating, right? There's a lot of time and effort and money into what I do have. That making that switch over is it's frustrating, right? And especially if I make that switch over and say I just get burned out on Apex in 6 months, like that's even going to be more infuriating. So just getting it now, I think, would be more beneficial for a lot of people, and especially if like the people who have it. So if I don't lose those things, that would be ideal. So if there is no cross progression and I would switch to PC and then I get burned out, I would be kind of bummed, not gonna lie. So yeah, let's get that cross progression going, please. Let's go to this one first. Number 5, I have 2 left, right? So I have 2 left. I didn't know which one I wanted to end with. So number 5, the care package gun changes. I don't know what. I mean, obviously the Kraber needs to stay. Maybe it's like going back to the OG ones, like the Mastiff, Kraber, and maybe the Devo. I guess, especially since we're getting a new LMG, putting the Devotion back in the care package with the Mastiff and with the Kraber. That way you have a LMG, you have a sniper, and you have a shotty. I feel like you're good at every distance right there, right? So going back to those, I feel like would be good. One, the triple take is just not intimidating. And I don't like taking the R99 and then the Prowler and putting those in the care packages. That's just like frustrating for people. Plus, like the Prowler was always my favorite gun, and I just obviously don't get it very much anymore. So getting that Prowler back on the ground, I think, is really important, at least personally to me. I loved that gun. Either mode, select fire or the five round burst, is just so fun. But yeah, the triple take is just underwhelming. I think I maybe used it 3 or 4 times. Like I'm just not doing anything with it. It's just kind of underwhelming, right? All right. So finally, number 6, last one, and then I'll wrap up. So the significant map changes. We know we're not getting a new map, but I think significant map changes and less lava. Now I know that's asking a lot for Respawn to do. Because they just like to set fire to things and blow up their map. And obviously, we know the Harvester is about to just straight up blow up or something to that effect. So it's going to blow up, obviously create probably like a giant crater in the center of World's Edge, which kind of sucks. And that's probably just going to set everything else on fire around it. I honestly don't need every POI to be just surrounded by lava. It's kind of annoying, and it just seems is it lazy? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like making other changes would be cool, and I know they want to stick to like a story and the lore of Apex. And I can appreciate that. There needs to be some type of a story about why things happen. But just everything blowing up constantly is just kind of annoying. So why can't you have a company come in and try to fix things and fix the giant cracks in the earth? Why not that? So I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of fire and setting it on. It's a big giant meme now at this point of Respawn map changes coming, which means just set everything on fire, right? So like jumping back to like season 6. So let's talk about like their last like legit like map changes to World's Edge. Going back to like season 6, which to me was like the worst season in my opinion. I started on day 2 of Apex, so I've got the birthday badge. I played every season. I've played at least a couple times a week, since unless I'm on vacation. But I've always played, and season 6 was by far the season I played the least amount. Was my worst season statistically, the one I just hated the most. I was just depressed. So the reasons why is, one, it was Rampart season, so kind of meh. Anyway, I didn't really want to play Rampart. Rampart just wasn't that cool to start with. She seemed cool, was not effective. But then the map changes. Like you had a like launch site and whatever the other ones are called, but there's like 3 of them, right? Like a few new POIs, and they just were not. It's just not enough for a full season of content, right? It was like enough for like a month of like checking out all the new features and the new locations, and yeah, everything's cool, great, great, great. Now I'm tired of it, and we're only a month into the season, and I got to deal with this for a few more months. It was a little frustrating. So yeah, it was just boring after a month. So if that's what's going to happen this season, I'm a little worried if Seer doesn't come out as just like a total badass, that I'm just going to get really tired of this season. It's going to be like a season 6 for me. So I have worries there. All right, so that is it. That is kind of like the things I want or I'm looking forward to or whatever, my thoughts on like the current status of Apex anyway. So let me know what you guys think. If I'm totally off base on any of these things, or if there's other things that you're looking forward to in season 10, be sure to let me know in the comments below, right? So that is it. Again, if you have not subbed, be sure to sub, and you can also check out all sorts of new content that I'm putting out almost daily. Pretty much, I've been doing that for a very long time. Got like 1,200 some odd videos on this channel, so there's enough content for anybody out there. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Later.